Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. The recap of the 2021 French Open, a really late recap of the 2021 Roland Garros. And first of all, I feel so bad that I didn't make a recap of the 2021 Rome Masters because I actually had some great ideas, some great thoughts, and I had a great prediction of what's going to happen at the clay courts of Paris, France, but I was just too lazy. So let me just give you a perspective. So here were my thoughts from about roughly a month or 5 weeks ago, or whenever it was the final of the Rome Masters. So a Nadal Djokovic clay match can go three ways. Nadal can just flat out beat him. Let's say 2020 Roland Garros final. Novak can also beat Nadal. A couple of Masters victories there, and of course the 2015 French Open victory. And there were a bunch of really close matches, and you would think that Novak would be the favorite because Novak is the most clutch player of all time, quite possibly. But no, if you remember 2009 Madrid, if you remember 2000, which was it, 2012 or 2014 Roland Garros, the match that ended with a double fault from Novak, and then the 2013 semifinal in which he came back just to lose at the end. So you would think, man, Novak really kind of semi-choked a bunch of important matches against Rafael Nadal, possibly because Rafael Nadal's aura of unbeatability on clay, although Novak beat him a couple of times already. So it's really a weird thing. And let me give you an example. Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, 2019 Wimbledon, one of my favorite matches of all time. And listen, I'm a Novak fan, and I'm going to tell you straight up that Roger Federer was quite possibly, probably, the better man on that match. He won 14 more points, 218 to 204. Every single one of the statistics was on Roger Federer's side, except, I think, for unforced errors. Anyways, Novak was just simply more clutch. And I mentioned the total points because total points is, I think, an underrated statistic. It shows you two things. Who is hitting the ball better? Who is, winning more points? Who is the flat out, simple, better player? And who is the more clutch player? And at the 2021 Rome final, at one point, middle of the third set, Novak Djokovic had actually won more points on clay versus Rafael Nadal, which is kind of weird, but when you look at the scoreboard, Novak played so poorly, completely unclutch at the end of the first set versus Rafael Nadal. He got broken in the 11th game, and then after he had 0-30 and made a couple of really weird shot choices, really weird errors. So he lost the first set, and then he pretty much destroyed Rafa in the second set. And then in the third set, he missed the break point and then fell apart, and then Nadal won that match. So as I mentioned, at one point in the third set, he actually won more points than Rafael Nadal on clay. And I thought to myself, man, he is playing at least equally good as Rafael Nadal. He's just absolutely not clutch. That's so not Novak Djokovic. But when he plays against Nadal on clay, that actually happens often. So that's why I thought, man, this dude has actually a great shot against Rafael Nadal. He's going to be motivated, and I just don't see Novak Djokovic being unclutch so many times against the same opponent. And guess what? 5-6 in the third set after Novak Djokovic came back from 0-5 in the first set. Of course, he lost the first set, but he had a great period of playing tennis at an extremely high level, possibly the greatest set of all time, the third set versus Nadal. And he was 1 point away, 5-6 advantage Nadal. He was 1 point away from being down 2-1, and then I guess it's over because, again, you played great tennis. Arguably, possibly played better than Rafael Nadal on clay, but yet you're losing again. So he was 1 point away, but he played a beautiful drop shot. He won that really important point, and he won that set. And listen, I kind of knew because in the first three rounds, Novak was playing exceptional. And then, of course, the fourth round was such a weird match, but after he switched on and he basically didn't lose a point. I mean, the guy, Musetti, quit basically not because of injury, because Novak was playing so good. How amazing is that? That's another great GOAT argument for Novak Djokovic. But anyways, against Berrettini, you never saw Novak Djokovic so angry and so relieved because he wanted it so badly. He wanted to face Rafael Nadal and beat Rafael Nadal so badly. I mean, this dude was yelling. He was kicking that advertisement barrier. He was about to break his racket. I mean, he was just completely mad when Berrettini saved that match point, but later on, of course, he beat Berrettini. So you saw that Novak is, I mean, possibly the biggest goal of Novak Djokovic's season this year was to beat Rafael Nadal. And he started poorly, and it was reminiscing of the 2020 final. But after it, you saw that Novak was not joking around, no pun intended. And Rafael Nadal had to pull one out of his ass, no pun intended, to beat Novak, but he couldn't. And, fourth set, it was really interesting because I was watching the live odds. So Novak won the third set, but he was down 0-2 in the fourth, right? And the live odds had Rafael Nadal as a favorite. And that was really weird for me. Yes, Rafael Nadal was almost unbeatable in the past 15 years, but Novak was just playing better, and, he was I mean, not going to say dominating Rafael Nadal, but he was really pushing him around on the baseline. So I was like, wait a minute. I mean, if I could bet, I would bet everything that I have on Novak Djokovic. Unfortunately, I didn't. But anyways, let's not gamble, guys. That's a bad choice. But anyways, and I was actually more scared of course, Stefanos Tsitsipas at the end because, man, beating Rafael Nadal on the clay of Roland Garros, and then, of course, having to face the third best guy. I mean, he is the third best guy right now because Medvedev isn't a great player. Team is, whatever is going on with Dominic Thiem. The dude completely fell apart. He's injured. I mean, hopefully Dominic's going to return soon. But anyways, to face and then to come back down 0-2 from Stefanos Tsitsipas, that's a really, really tough choice. But anyways, I'm really glad that Novak was finally clutch versus Rafael Nadal because, as I mentioned, that was so anti-Novak Djokovic, choking so many times versus Rafael Nadal on clay. That's really unusual for Novak. But anyways, great match for Rafa. I feel bad. Because I wanted to see Rafa in Wimbledon. I think Rafael Nadal is such a weird thing when you think of Nadal because he had a period of basically being unbeatable except if you're Roger Federer on grass, and then he kept losing in the second round. But then last time we were at Wimbledon, he actually played the semifinal against Roger Federer, and before that he played the semifinal against Novak Djokovic. So I was looking forward to see what can Rafael Nadal do on grass. But anyways, that's not going to happen. Now, I made a video a couple of months ago, of course, pre-Roland Garros, about Novak Djokovic's chances of winning the in-season Golden Slam. And a lot of you said yes, a lot of you said no. Well, he did, in fact, I guess, check the toughest box, excuse me for that. And if I would have to rank the challenges, Wimbledon, US Open, and Olympic Games, I think the Olympic Games are the hardest because it's best of three after all. Yes, there is no Nadal. Yes, probably Thiem isn't playing, Federer isn't a factor. But I mean, a guy like Medvedev, a guy like Tsitsipas, even a guy like Zverev, because my God, Sasha Zverev, oh my God, I just cannot stand that dude. Like, this dude can play lights out tennis because I was rooting for him against Tsitsipas in the final because I thought that Zverev would be an easier opponent for Novak. And this guy comes back and then has 3 break points in the first game and then completely falls apart. Oh my God, like, what is he doing? He's such a choke artist. It's unbelievable. But anyways, I think the Olympics are the toughest challenge because the format of the match isn't really suitable for Novak Djokovic because when you think about it, who the hell is beating Novak Djokovic? Like, Roger, oh my God, he is basically semi-retired. He just lost to Felix Auger-Aliassime after withdrawing. And let me just mention this about Roger. A lot of you think that Roger withdrew because he was ducking Novak, and that's, I guess, partially true. And I think it was really smart for him that he withdrew before Berrettini, because if he would accidentally beat Berrettini, that sounds weird, but let's say he beats Berrettini, which I don't think would happen, but let's say he beats Berrettini, and then he would be like, oh man, I have to withdraw before Novak. That's going to look shitty, like complete shit, right? So he withdrew before Berrettini, and possibly has to do something with Novak. I think he really aims for that Wimbledon. But yeah, I don't think Roger has much of a chance. It's really a long shot. I mean, it depends from the draw. And listen, a lot of guys are falling apart right now. I mean, team isn't good. Medvedev. I don't know how Medvedev plays on grass. So, but let's not talk about that. Anyways, I was talking about Olympic Games being really difficult. Well, I guess the most difficult challenge for Novak Djokovic because of the format. And it was like a weird interview which Novak had last year, and he was talking about him wanting the Grand Slams to switch into best of three sets. Like, what the hell? The biggest advantage for Novak Djokovic is to play a best of five set match. Like, what? Why would you want that? I guess he was just joking around. Like, what the hell is going on? Anyways, the second toughest challenge will be actually the Wimbledon, because if you remember 2016, he lost to Sam Querrey in the third round after winning the Roland Garros, and it could happen. Listen, I think it can go two ways in the upcoming years. I'm not just talking about 2021. Novak can easily win like 7 or 8 Grand Slams, and look, you can call me biased. You can call me a biased fan, but who's beating Novak Djokovic? Like, who? Tell me a name. Like, he just beat Rafael Nadal on Roland Garros. Who the hell is beating Novak Djokovic? I mean, you could say Medvedev and Tsitsipas, but 0 wins so far against Novak on any Grand Slams for Medvedev and Tsitsipas. Both of them lost the final against Novak. I mean, you don't know which was the worst for them. Was it for Medvedev, who lost in 3 straight sets, or was it for Tsitsipas, who blew a 2-0 lead? So, I mean, who's beating Novak Djokovic? I don't think anybody's beating Novak Djokovic at the US Open, especially with all the shenanigans that went down last year. I think Novak is coming to the Flushing Meadows with a vengeance, and I think that's a lock. That's pretty much a lock. I think Novak Djokovic is going to end this season with at least 3 majors, and if he loses Wimbledon, he's winning. He's winning the US Open. But Wimbledon can be weird because if I remember correctly, he was not playing on the center court versus same court. I know that's kind of a bullshit argument, but to have the world number one, who is a defending Grand Slam champion, who won 4 majors straight, 2016 I'm talking about, 4 straight majors, and he's playing the third round match on court number 1. That's kind of stupid. So that kind of shit can happen. Anyway, so I wouldn't be completely surprised if Novak would lose to somebody like, I don't know, who's a good server? Karen Khachanov. Like, if he would lose to Karen Khachanov in the 4th round of Wimbledon, it wouldn't be a complete surprise to me after the whole emotional roller coaster at the French Open. But I still have Novak winning. Olympic Games, man, that's going to be difficult, and I think he's winning the U.S. Open. And honestly, nobody's stopping him in 2022, 2023, 2024 even. So it's going to be crazy. And yeah, if you would ask me how many Grand Slams would Novak Djokovic end up having, is 25 a lot? I mean, he has 19 already. He is going to have 20 by the end of the season, so 5 more in 2 or 3 years. That's easy. So it's going to look, and I think if Novak wants to find motivation, he might find Serena Williams' 23 Grand Slams, or Margaret Court. Isn't Margaret Court reading? I'm not really good with women's tennis. Anyways, I think somebody has 24. Margaret Court, I guess. Margaret Court has 24. So he might find motivation in that to be the GOAT, because I saw this graph. Like, this is really funny. Of course, that was the 310-week race, right? And as soon as Novak broke the 310 mark, people started putting up Serena Williams 324, Steffi Graf 370 something, Margaret Court 330 something. It's like nobody was mentioning these women, like women's tennis does not exist. But as soon as Novak Djokovic beats a record, oh, that person who is a tennis player is better at this and this and has a better record at this and this. So that was kind of like weird. So I wouldn't be surprised as soon as Novak has 21 Grand Slams, people will start mentioning Serena Williams and all these women tennis players who have won more Grand Slams. But it is what it is. And I thought it was completely stupid criticism. I saw somebody criticizing Novak for giving his racket to that kid. Like, dude, he just gave his racket to a kid who was just there and cheering him. Like, what the hell is going on? Anyways, that's kind of normal. I will probably not be making videos as often as I used to. I was making videos, well, every day basically. But yeah, I will be making videos before Wimbledon. I will have, I guess, predictions, because I have to have predictions. I must have predictions because I can talk about me, predicting the outcome of Roland Garros in Rome and all that, but I didn't have the whole bracket filled out. So yeah, I will do that certainly. And yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to the recap of French Open. And yeah, cut.